With everyone's eyes following the situation revolving around Al Horford and the Boston Celtics and him bringing him back, Brad Stevens did something that no one saw coming and made a huge move for the team, going out in free agency and bringing in a wing in Josh Minott, who I think is going to be a tremendous piece for this squad to take a flyer on and hopefully be able to rebuild this team similar to what they did with other players to get this core to a championship. We're going to see the Celtics try to maneuver some moves here over these next couple hours as they just made this one, and I think there are going to be some other ones following that. So we'll get over what Josh Minott can bring for this Celtics team, what he looks at as a prospect. Is this signing a good one for the Celtics? And also what that can mean for other moves potentially later today or in the next couple of days. We'll be diving into all of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I am your host, Bruce Veliz, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic. You guys have been showing the love and support for Nick, Patrick, and I on these videos, and we really do appreciate all the love that you guys have been showing us down below. So let us know your thoughts on the Josh Minott signing and ultimately what you guys think the Boston Celtics are doing this free agency. But without further ado, let's dive in and let's explore the signing, as I think this is very interesting for the Boston Celtics and multiple reasons. But for a lot of people that don't know a lot about Josh Minott, I think he can be a solid piece for the Boston Celtics for multiple reasons, and I'll explain that why in this video. But like I mentioned, we just saw the news. Free agent forward Josh Minott has agreed to a 2-year, $5 million deal with the Boston Celtics, sources tell ESPN. Celtics executives finalized the new deal with Minott's agent, Aaron Turner of Veliz. And this is very interesting for the Boston Celtics. I really like this move. It's kind of funny to see them pick up players from the Minnesota Timberwolves. We obviously saw them sign Luka Garza yesterday. We had a video detailing what he can bring for the Boston Celtics, but also a guy in Josh Minott, who was also one of those guys who was at the end of the rotation here for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He had some opportunities to shine and to kind of, play a role as a backup wing, but with guys like Jaden McDaniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker really being there, a guy in Josh Minott never really had that opportunity to break out free from those guys. And with them really stepping up and taking a majority of the workload, a guy in Josh Minott had kind of fallen through the Timberwolves system and hadn't really been that impactful. But for the Celtics, he brings a lot of an intriguing piece on the defensive end. As Bobby Kravitsky notes here, that Josh Minott, even when he got playing time, he acquitted himself well, exemplifying that his career night against the Clippers this season was a 13.8 rebound, 3 assist night with 1 steal and 1 block in just 21 minutes. He's a 6'8 forward who turns 23 in November, which is a low-cost bet on his upside. And we've seen Brad Stevens do this in the past, similarly with guys on this roster like Luke Cornett, like Derrick White, who he took a low-cost buy on, Namus Keita, Xavier Tillman, and many, many others. And I think he's doing something similar like he did with Hauser and Cornett, and believing in those undrafted pieces and having them develop, similar with a guy in Josh Minott who can come over here and hopefully be a successful wing here in this Celtics system. But with that move kind of transpiring, and with the Celtics now doing this, bringing in Josh Minott, it does make it more likely that the Celtics will have another move up their sleeves. But we'll get into that just in a little bit. Let's dive into and go over what Minott could bring. Like Bobby stated, a 6'8 defensive wing here for the Boston Celtics. Someone that I think is going to bring in some great competition for a guy in Jordan Walsh, a rookie that we all had some promise on 2 seasons ago. Ultimately, last year was a little bit past in the rotation, but could see some light here with Jayson Tatum being out. I think Minott brings a little bit of that competition, like I mentioned, for him to kind of see who can really stand out to be that defensive 3-and-D wing here for the Celtics that they can kind of build through. We saw the Celtics do this 2 seasons ago when they brought in O'Shea Brissett and Lamar Stevens, and I think we're going to see something a little bit similar with Josh Minott and Jordan Walsh over this course of the year. Minott, obviously, like I mentioned, pretty solid on-ball defender, pretty solid wing guy. Like Bobby mentioned, can get steals, can get blocks, so he's going to be hustling and playing with heart on the defensive end. You may question why the Timberwolves let him go, but it's ultimately his decision, as his agent and him declined an option with their Timberwolves on a player option to go and test the market in free agency to go and get a better opportunity. He feels going to the Celtics, and the Celtics feel with him that he's going to get that better opportunity here, with them not obviously having a lot of wings in this system and having that hole of a defensive wing here. And I think that's great for Minott as well, and it just goes to show you what he could bring for the Celtics. If he's declining an option and coming to this team, he feels that with this Celtics squad, he has that opportunity to shine bright and potentially work himself to a key rotational piece for a team down the road. And if for the Celtics, they could snag a piece in Josh Minott who could be a low-cost value investment, but pan out like those guys in Cornet or like Hauser, then this is going to be a trade that we look back on when everyone said, who's Josh Minott, to going, wow, thank you, Brad Stevens, once again. And that's why you have to put your faith and trust into Brad Stevens here, obviously. Celtics are still looking to do other moves down the line, but I do like this signing in Josh Minott personally. The Luka Garza one was pretty solid, but I know you guys in the comment section weren't the biggest fans of that move. A guy in Josh Minott, in my opinion, is a better signing than a guy in Luka Garza. Personally, I think he's going to be a better fit, but not only that, I think he has a little bit more upside than a guy in Luka Garza at his position and has shown in his stints in the NBA, similar to a guy in Luka Garza, that when they get the opportunity, they can prove it. So I think with the Celtics, that's what we're going to see here. A little bit of a prove-it year with some of their younger guys as well, which is going to be very, very interesting. So that's what we got for our breakdown with Josh Minott. A very, very key defensive wing that's going to be making a little bit of a splash maybe with the Celtics, trying to be a rotational piece. But with the Celtics, obviously, there's still some more news coming on. And what does this mean for other things revolving around the Celtics? Well, I want to pull up that graphic here, looking back at the offseason roster for the Boston Celtics. As we all know, with them sitting currently right now, even with Luka Garza on the team, they're currently roughly at $205 million. And with this signing of a guy in Josh Minott, that's going to put them right above and back into that second apron, sitting at $207 million. And Robbie Fletcher from Celtics blog noted that obviously since the Celtics dipped back over the second apron in this move, he's 100% expecting a trade of some sort today, and I would not be shocked if that's the case. We've discussed here on the channel multiple times, maybe there's a move involving Anthony Simons and shedding his salary to have the flexibility to bring back Al Horford, which is another key free agent who's still out there getting offers from the Warriors, the Lakers, and still the Boston Celtics. The Knicks and the Nuggets went and got Valanciunas and Yabusele, so it seems like they're out of the running for Horford, but it could be down to those three teams here as we're nearing that decision either being made today or in the next few days. We also have, obviously, the uncertainty of a guy in Georges Niang. He's a little bit of a filler contract. Maybe he's moved now with some of those additional second-round picks that the Celtics got on draft night from trading back. Maybe it's a smaller deal, like a Jordan Walsh, a Xavier Tillman, something like that. But that's something to keep an eye on for the Boston Celtics, because realistically, they only have to shed $2 million, but they still want to shed more than $2 million so they can have the flexibility to bring back Al Horford. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's a bigger domino to fall, like an Anthony Simons. Maybe it is a Georges Niang and then another move following that as well. Still, obviously, a name in Sam Hauser is one to keep an eye on, even though those rumors have died down with his expendable $10 million contract. Maybe that's someone the Celtics look to move to shed some money. But overall, the Boston Celtics are now back over the second apron, don't want to be over the second apron, and will make more moves with this signing, which is clear. But a guy in Josh Minott's going to be a solid rotational piece to now fill into this Celtics rotation. And with looking at what the Celtics have so far, right, they have these five players, and Derrick White, Anthony Simons, Jaylen Brown, Georges Niang, and Neemias Queta. I don't expect that to be the starting five. Pritchard, Shireman, and J.D. Davidson were all here as J.D. Davidson was brought back. That's 8. Hauser, Walsh, Tillman, and Tatum. That is 11 at the current moment with Garza, Minott, and Ugo Gonzalez, not Hugo, it's Ugo, as I now learned from his pronunciation of his name from his introductory press conference today. The Celtics have 14 guys under roster, so the Celtics definitely could look to make some more of those moves to bring back Al Horford, maybe even bring in another impactful piece. But even if it is just to shed some salary to bring in Al Horford as that final roster spot, this could be what we see as the Celtics' final rotation, which will be very interesting to see how the rest of free agency does play out. But like I mentioned, definitely want to stay up to date on everything revolving around the team, as they still are, gauging the trade market, still looking for Al Horford, and we'll have the news regardless of Al Horford signs with the Celtics or someone else here on the channel for you guys to stay up to date on everything revolving around the team. So let me know your thoughts on the signing of Josh Minott. Let me know what you think the Celtics will do to shed some potential salary here in the next couple of days, or potentially even today. And if they do that, you'll catch us in another video. But if not, I'll catch you guys tomorrow, breaking down some more news regarding around this Boston Celtics team. So I really like this signing of Josh Minott. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics. Peace out, everyone.